Check 1, 2, 3. All right. David Hooper here with you. This is the lo-fi edition of Build a Big Podcast. Same podcast, same website, bigpodcast.com. That's where to go if you want to learn how to build a bigger podcast, get people to your podcast, make more money with your podcast, make people care about your message. On this episode, I'm reviewing it and I'm also using it. This is the Focusrite Vocaster 1 that I'm talking into. There are no effects. I'm going straight into Audacity and I'm using the cheapest microphone that I have. I'm using the ATR 2100. This is one that I've had for 8 years. I think I bought it for $50. The new ATR 2100, about $100. If you're not familiar with it, it's an SM57 knockoff, and it is about as basic as it can get. There's an XLR connector, which I'm using. There's a USB connector. That's one of the reasons why a lot of podcasters use it. It sounds good. It's not a broadcast mic. I've got it for things like webinars and portable use because it's so easy to use. It's not bad. And I'm using it to show you what a very basic mic running into the Vocaster 1 by Focusrite sounds like. This is an interface for solo content creators. That's what the box says. I've been using it for about a month. Today is the official release date, so I'm allowed to talk about it. I've had to keep this thing a secret for a while. I'm really excited about it. It is very similar to the Focusrite Scarlet. You've seen these red boxes and they've sold, 1.5 million of those things. I've used those for years. And the Focusrite Scarlet is a workhorse. I was doing an interview with Dave Jr. from Megadeth. We had all this equipment that they had brought in. It's a big deal, right? We've got a live broadcast. We've got a live studio audience. And for whatever reason, my engineer is having issues with all the equipment they had working with what we needed. So she pulls out a Focusrite out of her backpack, a Focusrite Scarlet, plugs it in. It's 2 channels, one for me, one for Dave Jr., and we are good to go. This is something very similar, but really made for podcasting. It's great for webinars. I've been using it for webinars and meetings that I do. It's got 2 huge knobs on it. One of them is your mic level. You don't even need that though, because it has an auto gain. That's super nice. That's what I'm using right now. So if you think, man, this guy is really at a great level, well, that's the auto gain. It has an enhancer, which you can change via software. So if you're interested in that, there are different software options. And you've seen this, like an FM radio jock or something to give you a little bit more bass boost or something to take the treble off or whatever you want. It's got different things that you can do with the Vocaster software. I'm just doing a plug and play on this though. This is going straight into a Mac. I'm recording it into Audacity. The next button on the front, I call it a cough button. It's a mute button. So if something happens, dog starts barking, whatever, you're doing a live presentation, you don't want that to go through the mic, well, just hit the cough button, you're good to go. And then it has another big knob on it that is the volume of your headphones or your monitors. To give you an idea about the back, it's pretty much like a Focusrite Scarlet, except it has one thing that I'm loving, which is the ability through the 3.5 millimeter jack to connect this unit to a phone, meaning that you can take phone calls via your mobile phone. And this is great because some people don't know how to use something like Skype or Squadcast or CleanFeed. Right now, I'm working on a project where people need to be anonymous. And it's literally people talking to me on burner phones or phones that I can't get to, fake numbers, Google Voice. I don't know how they're doing it. But people want to be anonymous. I need a way to record them. We're doing it via the phone. So if you're interested in that, that's a really nice thing. It has a 48 volt boost, also known as phantom power. So if you're using a condenser mic, that's great. It's a nice piece of gear. If you've already got this Scarlet box, is it worth getting? I don't know. The Scarlet box is great. I'm going to keep using that for my podcast. But for something like a webinar, Zoom call, what I've got now, just a standard computer, it's going into a Mac Mini, Audacity, webinars, something like that. You can hear how good it sounds. And it's nice if you're doing live because you've got these big buttons. It's easy to fix something. If it's not loud enough, you can't hear something, turn it up. It's too loud, turn it down. For a live presentation, or if you don't already have the Focusrite Scarlet, this is not bad. I'm using the Vocaster 1, as I mentioned. There's also a Vocaster 2. So if you're doing something like a co-hosted podcast, or you're doing interviews in person, I mentioned doing Dave Jr., we could have used the Vocaster 2 for that, the same as we use the Scarlet. Very easy to use, plug and play. I like it. This is a test unit. I'm not keeping this, but I actually need a new interface for this situation. I'm probably going to get one of these units for myself. For me, as far as webinars go, this is better than the Focusrite Scarlet. Otherwise, though, if you've got the 3rd generation, it's got the air button. I don't think you need to replace it. Just keep that 3rd generation Scarlet. With that said, if you do need to record phone calls, you want to broadcast on Clubhouse, this is a way for you to do that. It's not a bad piece of gear. Search it out. Vocaster 1. That's the name of it. And if you go to my Instagram page, the username is BigPodcast1. You will see me with a video. You get to see exactly what it looks like. As far as hearing it, though, this is it. Just me with an ATR 2100 going straight into the Vocaster. No kind of processing, nothing like that. So this is what it sounds like. If you want more from me, bigpodcast.com, that is where to go to subscribe. Make sure you never miss an episode. bigpodcast.com/subscribe. This podcast, it's not really about gear. It is about growing your audience, making more money with your podcast, spreading a message, getting people to care about what you do. So if you're interested in those kind of things, bigpodcast.com/subscribe. That is where you want to go. While you're on the site, I've got a newsletter that goes out every week, some other things that will help you grow your podcast audience, spread your message, make money with your podcast. It's all at bigpodcast.com. Go there, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode of Build a Big Podcast.